Okay, this is going on. This is working. YouTube's working. I'm gonna. Can I drop my own YouTube stream in Reddit? Okay. Yes. Okay. This is live. Everything is live for Twitter. So this is live. Close this now. We can start the music. Hopefully, there should be royalty free enough because it's just a remix. It's just you to beat. Anyway, it's been a while. I've been trying to figure out how to properly schedule and sort this out. But this week in comics and manga is back online. We're gonna just jump right into it, and we're going to start off with the comics like we usually do. We're going to start off with Detective Comics 1056. Oh wait, I actually did notes this time. I actually took notes while I was reading all of this. Let me put them. It's too big of a window. Okay. See if I can find my notes. There we go. There are the notes. This Detective Comics run by Mariko Tamaki has been decent sometimes and very often absolutely painful to read. Like, first off, don't get me started with this goddamn cover. This isn't even by the main artist, and what the fuck is this cover about? Like, this is retarded. I don't like seeing this where this says nothing of the story besides, oh, it's Harley Quinn being XD random. And speaking of Harley, enough with putting Harley in every comic. It's stupid. I don't want to see it. I don't want to. Harley was good when she had her own book at the start with like Jimmy Palmiotti and oh my god, I'm blanking on his wife's name. With the Palmiottis. That was great. It was hilarious. It was fun. It was lighthearted. And now she's everywhere. And I'm just burnt out. I'm like oversaturated on Harley Quinn. And the artist. This is like the fourth artist on this like 10 issue. It's like we're 10 issues into this saga. It's like the fourth or the first artist so far, and it's inconsistent with his faces. And oh my god, enough with Harley. Get it out. Enough with the XD. Oh my god, I'm so random. It's not how a psychotic murderer, serial killer who Harley is should talk. She has no death. She's a literal clown. She's just your average suicide girl, but with a hammer, or a baseball bat. Because for some reason they decided a baseball bat is more fun than a giant mallet. And oh my god, and her dialogue with the doctor is so painful. Like, why is she spilling secrets? Oh, Batwoman, she's been undercover. Is this guy? No, it's stupid. Everything, the whole Harley Quinn bit in this comic is downright painful, including the cover. Cover, technically good, serves no fucking purpose. Get it out. The Tim Drake fight that Mariko Tamaki finally decided to add some competent males in here, or at least make them look competent. Even finding the clowns was stupid because they weren't shooting at him. And he's like, oh, your aim sucks. And I'm like, how do you know they didn't even shoot at you? Like, it's stupid. It really took me out of the reading experience. I was like, eh? Eh? What do you mean? And wouldn't you know it? Scarecrow is also in this. Like, we dealt with Scarecrow literally in the previous arc with James Tynion and Batman. Like, why is he here again? But it's the end, of course. Women are saving men all the time. But she did one thing good, and that's the Batman interest in this comic. It's very much I'm thankful of the Endwalker experience. But that was good. It was Batman, both the drawn and written competently for like the whole 1 or 2 page that he shows up. But why is Batman back? I'm not up to date with like the current. I should have looked at current Batman. Is he back in Gotham? Because the whole premise of Batman not being in this for like 10 bloody issues, or 9.8 issues, is that he's not in Gotham. He's dealing with the Batman Inc. situation in Luthor. But I need to check if he's back, because if he's not back there, but he's back here, and he's not gonna be back in the main book for like another issue or two, this is some very serious editorial oversight. But let's face it, we already know that editors don't edit. They're just glorified scheduling apps. Anyway, Batman Detective Comics 1056. I can't recommend this. It's... Oh, the start of this comic, I just remember. The start is so... Oh my god, of the actual editor. So the start of this comic is like 3 pages flooded with text where the reporters are trying to interview Mayor Nakano's wife. And after those 3 excruciating pages, we get a splash page of his wife talking with Psychopart. And I'm like, why don't you start off with a splash page of the mayor's wife talking with Psychopart and then go into your 3 excruciating pages of interview? Like, give the reader something to latch onto when they open the comic, and not just, oh, it's like a talking scene that was with a bunch of like text that reads like homework. It's it's excruciating. Like, Mariko Tamaki can be serviceable. I don't want to even say decent. She can be serviceable. But at times like this, this was painful to read. Like, I cannot recommend this. I can't even recommend the trade in this, because there's been so many artists on this fucking one, because it's weekly, and artists like Ivan Rice and Danny Mickey need time to produce a good looking comic. So they gotta flip artists around. It's painful, it's poor management. If you're gonna run a weekly comic, this isn't how you do it. It's absolutely painful. Not a recommend. I can't even recommend the trade. It started off okay, now it's just I think they're gonna have like what, another artist or 2 by the end of this arc. Like, fuck off, DC. Next comic. Should I clap? Next comic. Punisher. Yet another number 1 by Marvel, but we all know at this point this is the only way they can maintain sales. And also this time I remember to bring water, so that I don't I don't run myself coarse by the end of this. If this is the Fable or Dread, you know, depending on who you are, Jason Aaron Punisher comic with the stupid logo. It's, oh my god, that logo is just plain stupid. Let him use this logo. It's a fucking skull. Anyway, they do a very quick recap at the start of Punisher's origin, but it's by another artist. It's not the main artist, and the art is off-putting. You open up the comic and you see that art. I think it's the coloring that's fucking it all up, because there is very often not much difference between foreground, midground, and background. And you're like, wait, what the fuck am I looking at? It's not good business to throw this type of art at the start of the book. It puts like a normie that's like, oh, Punisher's like a new number 1. I can finally pick it up, and you know, I actually read the Punisher. They open up the first page, it's like that art with this cover, and you're like, wait a minute. But the main artist is the artist we see on the cover. For, you know, big shocker, I know. But actually, I think I missed something here. Yeah, I should have put out my YouTube chat. Pop out. YouTube, if you ever listen to this, remove the top chat function. Nobody gives a shit about it. It's fucking useless. Let me pin my popped out window on top and just leave live chat. Otherwise, it's fucking useless. Anyway, Punisher. Story was decent. There was plenty of action. There was a lot of action, but here's my problem with this. The art looks boring. It's competent, but I think the coloring is the issue. It just looks dull. It's absolutely dull, and even in the action pages, it looks too posed, too referenced. There's not much energy to it, and the colors don't help either. It just is this all-encompassing, and it's a letdown, because this can be a fun run. But here's the other problem. Jason Aaron has to earn the people's trust, because we've all seen his dick riding on female on like female Thor and now Valkyrie. And with all these current generation of writers, give them like 3 or 4 issues and they'll show you their true colors. I hope this is just like a limited series full of like fun. It's like violence, gore, and yada yada yada. And I'm not gonna spoil the big review at the end, but I am going to vaguely comment on it and say that I think from what I've seen being talked around, this type of plot device has been used before to not much success. And this might be an editorial oversight, or they just not respecting continuity, which wouldn't be a surprise because editors nowadays can't fucking edit. Oh boy. This I cannot recommend this because of Jay Snyder's previous writing history. I don't trust his ass. The art looks it's serviceable, but it looks dull and boring. Hopefully this will be a good trade. I'm hopeful because I want to enjoy a good Punisher. I want to have fun. But I don't trust the person writing it, and since this is a writer-centric industry now, we just gotta wait and see, and hopefully we are done good. We're done. We're not gonna get done dirty yet again by Jay Snyder. Anyway, next comic. Sweet Paprika. This is the definition of a comfort comic. This is a very horny, very entertaining rom-com. A friend of mine absolutely hates the design for Sweet Paprika. I don't know why, it's probably her pointy tits. But if you like a light-hearted, comfy rom-com with like good art, good story, just you can sit down and enjoy issue by issue. Sweet Paprika is an absolute recommend since, you know, Step and Cedric's comics don't print very regularly, but you just have a Patreon. But while this is a comfort comic with, you know, with tits and horniness and some comedy, we had a very big leap in character growth for Paprika here. She finally found out that she's a cunt and she's trying to fix it. Speaking of cunts, there was that is also a cunt. I don't want to spoil too much, but you know, it's also a comfy rom-com comic. There's not too much to spoil besides, hey, that, but you know, the thing that spoil is like showing the horny pages, and I can't do that. Anyway, this is an absolute recommend. If you've been following this, keep following this. If there's like one comic you can bet on to be entertaining and just make you feel good, it's Sweet Paprika. Next comic. Venom number 6 by Brian Hitch. I mean, it's, you know, the writer is Ram V, but it's drawn by Brian Hitch. I'm surprised he's gonna be on for longer than 6 issues because we did see a whatchamacallit. This is the start of an arc. Like, this isn't like, oh, this is the end of an arc and, you know, next issue we're gonna have. No, this is the continuation of an arc. So we're gonna get we're gonna get an artist on a comic at Marvel for longer than 6 issues. I don't know how to feel about this. I feel like there's someone somewhere that's trying to make a proper run that's like not just by a writer, because I fucking hate that. I'm an artist, mostly guy. I read comics for the art. And if you keep switching artists every 3 issues like fucking DC is doing on Detective Comics, I'm not going to enjoy it. I'm gonna recommend this. Anyway, Venom. Where are my notes? I think there wasn't much to say about Venom. Yeah, besides, you know, it's Brian Hitch on art. It's going to be competent. It's going to be great. But the issue itself was slow. We did get some setup with, like, you know, with the biker gangs and whatnot, but it shouldn't take 80% of the comic. It should have been at the very most 4 pages, and then us going like the biker gang or you know, whatever's being set up at the end of this, which is a biker gang war. This is yet another symptom of writing for the trade. This shouldn't be happening. Just what happened with decompressed storytelling? Like, for some reason, some retard decided, you know what? We should make each arc 6 issues, regardless. It's 6 issues. Stretch it, tighten it up, whatever it has to be. We're going to going to hyper decompress the story, so it's gonna take a whole long ass while to tell a bloody 2-issue story. It's stupid, it's boring, it's wasting the artist's time first, it's wasting the reader's time first, and it's fucking expensive as all hell. Like, you're asking people for 5 smackaroos per comic for them to read something that could have been a total of 8 or 10 pages that's been stretched out to 22 or 20 depending on the comic, because of this style of storytelling. It's stupid. Even if it's a weekly, I'd be like, okay, this is like one slow issue out of like 10. But this happens very often. It happens once per trade. At the very least, 1 issue per trade is going to be slower. And on trade is like 6 issues, so just get the trade. I love Brian Hitch's work. He is an absolute legend. I understand his style might not be for everyone because he does do that photorealistic. It's not photorealistic because his art is stylized, but he does lean a lot into realism. You complain a lot because I like comics. I want them to be better, and I understand that some people won't enjoy me complaining a lot, but I've seen comics do better, and I want them to do better still in the future. Anyway, I can't recommend this issue. Just get it in trade format. It's going to be spending $5 for like a 5-minute read. That's not going to be too entertaining. It's too much talking. Anyway, next comic. Strange Academy. Now this comic series is absolutely excellent. This is the closest an American comic could or will ever get to My Hero Academia, and I'm absolutely shocked that they've managed to leave Humberto Ramos to do each and every one of these issues, because we all know what happens with like Marvel artists. They can only stay for like 3 or 4 issues. But anyway, this is probably some editor forgot that this actually exists, and they were like, oh, we thought this was cancelled. But no, this is probably the best Marvel comic coming out right now. It's absolutely fun. It's kids, it's teenagers being written perfectly by Scott Young. I wish Scott Young would go back to Gertrude and I had Fairyland, but since he's only writing this, give you both. But if you're going to buy one Western comic each month, it has to be this one. This is absolutely gorgeous because it's by Humberto Ramos, and they're not absolutely destroying his art with colors. There's actually some very good cohesion by him and the colorist. And the story is the kids, since they're kids, they're teenagers, they're absolutely going to rebel against authority, especially if they don't necessarily understand all the rules and checks and balances that need to be kept in a, school and universe where magic plays a very big role in it. And when there are teenage hormones running around, of course, we're going to get into a lot of conflict, interpersonal conflict. And we do get into this big fight where I think he's the son. I dropped this for a while. I didn't necessarily drop it because I was bored. I just forgot about it. Because for some reason it's not being promoted by Marvel. This is their best comic out. But the son of their mom is in this, and people are finally getting into a conflict. And I forgot the kid that actually got into started off the initial fight. I think it was Doyle. Started off the initial fight with him. He's like, you're showing your true colors. You're just another Dormammu. He's like, you know what? I am. And he absolutely 1v9'd everyone. And the kids were like, you know what? It's not his fault. And I was like, wait, what do you mean it's not his fault, lady? And the girl, I don't know these characters yet since I haven't been reading this religiously. The female character who was supposed to go on a date with Dormammu was like, this is not his fault, this is the teacher's fault. Because they don't tell us anything, they don't explain the rules and what we should do when the things we discover here turn out to be absolute monstrosities. Like, one of the kids had nothing to do with magic, discovered a magical cape which turned out to be like some Doctor Strange monster, and that got taken away. And he's like, well, what am I supposed to do now? So the kids are like, well, you don't tell us anything, we're just gonna fucking leave then. So they end up living. I'm absolutely amazed that Marvel can produce a comic of this quality and not support it. There's absolutely no promotion of this comic at all, besides maybe fans of this comic like going with the mouth to mouth. But to be fair, comics promotion has been a letdown for like a decade, I think. What do they actually do besides putting an ad out in the previews by Diamond? Like, I don't see any like random internet ad about, oh, Strange Academy comic is doing great, or you should buy the Strange Academy. It's sad. They don't promote much on Twitter either. But I'm here to do that in their stead. Because when there's a good comic, it has to be promoted. It has to be bought. Strange Academy is an absolute recommend. Again, if you're going to buy only one Western comic, buy this one. Now, for our scheduled water break. Okay, next comic is Spawn 327. Now, if you've listened to other This Week in Comics reviews, podcasts, streams, whatever you want to call them, you know that I'm an absolute simp for Spawn. He's my favorite comic book character. So whatever I mention here, take it with a grain of salt. But here's the thing though, Spawn can be very slow, but he can also be back into his action-packed roots and just monster fights. And this time, it wasn't all fights, but it was mostly fights. But I do have issues. I do have issues because Spawn can do better, I've seen it done better, and I wanted to do the best it can. The Rory guy is very, very decent. He does a good job. But here's the thing I didn't like. It's the excessive narration during fighting scenes. It has nothing to do with the fight itself. It's not us reading Al Simmons' thoughts while he's fighting, like his strategy or whatever, or the checks and balances he has in his head while fighting someone. No, he's throwing a left, aim for like joints, aim for like weak spots, don't get surrounded. No, it's nothing like that. It's like this lyrical blather that I started to hate ever since Scott Snyder. While an action scene is going on, and just the two things just don't go well together. Just stop it. If you're going to do like an 8-page action scene, don't give me any captions. I don't want to hear your lyrical mastery of whites. Just let Spawn and Hunt in this issue just fight the bad guys. I just want to see guts and gore, you know what I mean? But other than that, this is good. There's an issue, I think that this is due to a scheduling issue, where the last few pages aren't done by the main artist, they're done by someone else, and the art styles are too dissimilar. I can tell that they're trying to look similar, but they don't. It took me a little bit out of the story. I'm like, wait, is this like a backup or something? No, it's just a continuation of the story, but by another artist, which leads me to believe if it's due to scheduling. I can understand why and how it happens, but I don't support it. It still shouldn't happen. I would much prefer Spawn to come out later than to have this. I want my visual cohesion to be put intact, and Todd understands this. So for him to do this, it means that they had absolute hell with scheduling, or maybe something bad happened. Maybe an accident happened. Maybe an emergency was on the horizon and people didn't see it or couldn't react to it properly, so they needed this. Maybe the main artist was like, hey, I had a family emergency, I couldn't work for like a week, we're gonna need someone to pick up the slack. It's understandable, but I still don't like it. But this issue is actually I recommend. Again, Spawn is my favorite comic book character. Take what I say with a grain of salt. This is a good issue. There was plenty of action. Spawn came in conflict with Hunt, and Hunt was like, hey yo, I'm poisoned here. I was gonna say the floodgates. Open the dead zones, I wanna get healed, I wanna take this poison out of me. I gotta go to heaven. He's like, you didn't realize that they could be lying to you because they want the dead zones open. But anyway, Spawn's whatchamacallit, paranoia, his distrusting of people still makes sense. Although sometimes I wish he'd fucking let off a bit. But anyway, I hope this is headed in a better direction still. That we get to see a lot of action and not Spawn talking tactics all the time, because it's getting tiring, Todd. And stop with the over narration. Get an editor who's a hardest, who's gonna go, hey, big splash page at the start. Don't over narrate what's already on the bloody page, because Todd does that. And don't narrate during combat. Like, let the fighting scenes breathe. Alright, next comic is, I think this is the last of the comics, and we're gonna go into the manga. Oh gods, no glory. This is done by the same team who did, let me see if I can remember the name properly. Goatman and was it Goatman and Rabbit? It's another, it's 36 pages, believe it or not, and they managed to do a slow story, a slow issue in 36 pages. There's a lot of dialogue, a lot of people just going from point A to point B and talking of how they're going to proceed further. And this is like a 3-issue story, like a 3 issue of 36 pages each. And what we have here is just a slow issue. Like they need to take care of Sarah because they're not gonna kill her. The interesting bit about this issue is that we see that, oh my god, was it Jerry? I keep forgetting the old dude's name, who seems to know a lot more than he's letting on, that he's not just a cleaner. And we're led to believe from the very first issue that, you know, if you can read between the lines, if you're sentient, he's probably a retired hunter turned cleaner because he doesn't want to deal with the bullshit. But it seems like he's gonna have to go back into being a hunter by protecting a vampire. There's a lot of setup here of, oh, how did Sarah get turned into a vampire? And then we go into, oh my god, I forgot the kid's name. I keep forgetting this character's name. It's been only 2 issues. Yeah, I should actually probably take notes of characters' names so that I can do a more professional review of this. But we go to high school. He gets into a fight. She shows her fangs. He goes home. She shows her fangs. It's not much action. So now I'm going from like point A to point B and talking. This would be a lot better in trade format, but there's so many people in this book. Like, the story is by like an entire team. There's like one guy that like multiple artists here. You know, we have the cover artist who's also doing the layouts, which is good. I don't mind an experienced artist doing the layouts for a rookie, so the rookie has a better chance of, you know, displaying his draftsmanship while still needing help with storytelling. That being said, there are quite a few times where the dialogue didn't match with the acting of the characters. But otherwise, even if you know that this is a complete rookie team, they're still trying to find their footing, I would still suggest that you support this because the book looks great, it's fun, it's sexy, there's plenty of action, there's plenty of gore, and they've had a good track record with me before that. This is going to work better as a trade because of the slow issue, but I still recommend it. Now next, we are moving into the manga, which I mostly have, I think I only have good things to say about this. But first, a water break. Okay. Dan. And this is chapter. Where my notes go? Dan. This is chapter 47 with almost 2 years of Dan. This is my favorite out of the new manga that's been coming out in the past like 2 years. It's absolutely gorgeous. The story is supernatural, but in a high school setting with aliens included. This issue is, it's not the culmination of the Haunted House arc, but it's right up there. It's like the last few chapters of it And wouldn't you know it, it's fucking Granny to the rescue. She comes in with an alien ship. She beams down with the mannequin. Is it an alien or is it a monster? The mannequin dude from like a few issues ago. And with the crab guy. With the... What was this, like... It's not a catcher, was it Mamacita or Chiquita? Like, the Mexican crab boxer guy. It was absolutely hilarious. They use the mannequin dude to trap Gigi into a Iron Maiden-like contraption. Because they can't deal with him, and they don't want to kill him because it's fucking Gigi under that possession. And the granny, the old lady of the family that's been sacrificing people to the giant Wyam, pulls out the very secret technique of Jennifer Lopez Anaconda. This is the action comedy bits of this series mixed with the gorgeous art. It's probably the best entertainment I've had in a while. This is an absolute recommend. Dan is free to read on the Shueisha app or on the Manga Plus app. I don't know if it's free to read from start to finish on their website, but on the phone app, it is. So it's an absolute recommend. It is fucking free, my dudes. Get on this. Everybody should be reading Dan. An absolute recommend. Next manga. Diamond in the Rough. Now, Diamond in the Rough pulled one of the slickest, oh, you thought this is anything, but it ain't, moves I've seen. They captured Kurotobi and we thought, oh, they captured Kurotobi, he's gonna heal his leg, he's gonna heal his family, but no. The more Kurotobi uses his Stibnite, the weaker he gets. And it looks like that we're gonna have to go on an Indiana Jones-esque adventure of exploring ancient ruins and pursuing an old folklore tale about the legend of the Diamond in the Rough. And I'm all for it. Like, the art in this is absolutely gorgeous. It very often falls into that category of the old school, like, pen and ink, hatch and crosshatch style, which is absolutely gorgeous for me. But this chapter itself didn't have too much happening. It's like a conclusion chapter. It's like the big party. We get introduced to a few characters. Everybody's here. Everybody's having fun. And we're set out on this new, like I mentioned, Indiana Jones exploration adventure. And again, this, I think, is this free on the phone app? Let me check. I have my phone right here. Manga Plus app. Let's see if this is also free from start to finish, or you might have to get the Shueisha app, which is only $2.50 a month, so we get there. Come on, phone. Okay, Diamond in the Rough. It is also free. I think most mangas, like first time reading free, which means if you read it once, it's free, and then it gets locked. So you could also read this for free on the Manga Plus app on your phone. I don't know about the website, but I think they're just pigeonholing people into reading on the phone, on the phone app, which is like, I don't like looking at manga on small screens. Can't enjoy the art as much. But this is an absolute recommend. It's also free. The art is gorgeous. Go read Diamond in the Rough. Next manga. Now, Ayashimon started off very, very mid. It's like Yakuza, but with, supernatural monsters, and it's still that. But we had some deeper character development, where the characters aren't just going in there for the shits and giggles. I was about to say Toya. This isn't Toya. Marua finally fights for somebody and something else rather than his own excitement and his desire to be like a main protagonist of a manga. A bit meta there, but this issue was very full of high-speed action because he's fighting the speed demon. He does try to land a punch on him, but he's again too slow, and he gets told this is a fight of our spirits, and not necessarily a physical or metaphysical fight. And our little guy Ten finally toughens up, and he uses his Ayashimon mask, I think it's called, I mean, and that's how the issue ends. That's how the chapter ends. He pulls out the mask, he starts to transform him, and he's like, you know what? He says, you can diss me all you fucking want, but don't you ever talk shit about Big Bro and Big Sis. So I expect the next issue, the next chapter, to be an absolute amazing fight. This is a recommend. This is also a new manga. It's, how many chapters is this? 14. This is chapter 14, so it's been out for like a little while. Go check it out. The art is very good. The character of the, I forgot the little sister's name on the right. She is very cute, and it's free. So what else are you gonna do? It's like some chapters read very quick, you know, in manga especially when there's fighting. Chapters read very quick, and if you're not someone who just pauses and just looks at the art, you're gonna catch up to this in like probably in like an hour. Next manga. Now the Kajiki Chef. I don't think that's like the full name, but you know, the shortened version, like the Kajiki Chef. It's also a new manga. It's on chapter 11 and 12, but it's been putting out 2 chapters a week. So it's been out for 6 weeks, a little over a month. The art style is good. I wouldn't say it's like, oh, it's amazing, but it's good. It's enjoyable. The characters that are supposed to be cute are cute. The characters that are supposed to look tough. It's very competent. It's good. It's enjoyable. Not much happens here. Toya and Iza arrive at Tokyo. They see that, you know, some bits like, you know, thugs and bullying are still the same regardless where they go. They stand up. They stand up. They protect this street stall vendor that sells Chinese noodles, and it turns out he's the commander, and his very thick, very cute secretary shows up, and she's just there to roast him on his cooking. But we do get the whole interview back at the Shinkansen, I think it was, back at their office where they were headed to. And of course, the commander is going to be a quirky guy. He ends up having the interview with Toya in the bathhouse. He's like, but before you tell me why you want to hunt the Kajiki, you know, the goldfish king Kajiki, to heal Iza's arm, you need to tell me, what is she to you? You know, and they go into the whole, oh, she's my childhood friend, but no, she's more than that. She is my everyday. She is sunshine. And it's very cute. Like, they're the type of childhood friends that turn couple that don't necessarily notice it until it happens. But at the end of the chapter, the commander goes, you guys are accepted, you both passed your interviews, but you gotta tie the knot before you go into your mission. They were like, wow. Okay. Check everything back. Okay, I had to mute. Anyway, this is an absolute recommend. You can catch up on this very quickly, especially on the phone app, because it's also free. Next manga is Dorun. I think this manga is named after the sound effect that monsters make in this manga. But not much happens here. Dora and Dororon finally figured out how to use spiritual pressure or supernatural energy. It's the same fucking thing, because he has none. But his little buddy, whose name I keep forgetting. Where is it? Kusanagi. But Kusanagi being an Ayashimon, he's a monster. I keep forgetting. Each manga has their own like own name for like monster. They're like a little bit of a variant on the white kaiju. Anyway, since Kusanagi is a monster, he's like, but why if we just reverse our roles? Instead of the samurai enshrouding his katana in spiritual energy, what if the katana enshrouded the samurai? So they find it out. He meets like an old quote-unquote rival that he just used to beat up, who just pick fights with him every time and he just get one shot. A slow issue, but hey, this is his training arc, and he has more training to do, he has more tasks to fulfill before he becomes a full-fledged samurai. And this was just the first one of probably quite a few. You can catch up to this, again, very easy, very quickly, because it's free on the phone app. This is only 13. Doron Dororon is only 13 chapters deep. So it's going to be a quick read. The art's good. I don't know if this guy is a rookie. This is his first series. But again, it's very competent, it's enjoyable. It's not a master level work, which isn't necessary. It just has to be good enough for you to enjoy it. And this is just like that. This is an absolute recommend. Next manga. Mega Lumiere Company Limited is magic. As you can see, it's Magical Girl. It's Magical Girl manga. It's very cute. It's very enjoyable. There's plenty of action. And while this chapter, a lot of slow chapters this week, a lot of slow issues and comics too. It's slow. Not much happened. Kana here, the girl on the right, gets sent to another company for like a collab for like a couple of weeks, and it's like a high-end cosmetics company that has like a Magical Girl division. So they mostly run around like showing off how they do things, you know, the high-end cosmetic company, how they do things. They go and buy makeup, they buy clothes, you know, they eat cake and whatnot. Very girly, very cute, not very actiony. But at the end, they do get caught into action, and we see how this company's transformation is different. And not only that, their uniforms are different. So it's a great thing to see that in this world, where they're like Magic Girl companies running around, they're like a normal thing now. That not only their transformation, but their uniforms are different. And I'm waiting to find out if their magic is also different. How much style and personality can a company have with their Magical Girls? Overall, this has been a very enjoyable read. The art is very good. The president of Magi Lumiere is very quirky. He's hilarious. And the girl on the light, Hashigawa, she is an absolute legend. This is yet again I recommend if you don't like Magical Girls. I understand, but it's free. You can read this for free. This also has been putting out 2 chapters a week. And it's currently chapter 12, so it's been out for a little over a month. Again, this is free. You can catch up to it in like probably an hour. I recommend this. Again, if you're sitting around wondering, I don't know what to do, bored, I want to read something, just install the Shueisha app or the Manga Plus app on your phone. And there's a lot of manga to read. My Hero Academia is also on there. It's free from start to current day. Spy X Family, Jujutsu Kaisen, a lot of shit. I'm not up to date with those, and that's why they're not on here. But when I do get up to date, they will come on this one. Again, this is an absolute recommend. Are there more? No, there's nothing more. This was the last one. Thank you guys again so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. Throw that up vote to the left on Reddit. I'll see you guys again next Sunday, where we'll be discussing the good, the bad, and the ugly of that week's comics and manga.